Hey everybody, it's Elysia, your Mortgage Millions mentor. And today I'm here with Rocco, one of my partners who gives us the science behind the sales. So with that, we're going to get right into it. So excited to bring you guys these updates with all the actual information and data on how people make decisions and enabling you to get the best of those tools to use to your advantage.
Yeah, and look, the nugget that we really want to focus on today is just around the pipeline, right? I mean, the truth of the matter is that the number one reason that for failure in really any sales position, it's just having an empty pipeline, and it's a hard truth that we all have to face sometimes and look at. And here's the thing: sometimes that's easy for us to identify that being the problem. And so what I want to do is I want to peel the layer of the onion back one more level behind that, because sounds silly to say, but the problem is not really the problem. The problem is the problem with the problem. And the thing about it is, like I said, having an empty pipeline, it really doesn't have anything to do with a lack of talent, skills, or even presentation ability, none of that stuff. There's some interesting things happening in your market right now, Elysia. I'm sure you could speak to it for a minute or so, but I don't think that it's necessarily caused by property values or high interest rates or limiting products to offer your clients and that sort of thing as well. So having an empty pipeline, having nothing to do with that, the root cause of having an empty pipeline is failure to prospect. Right, Elysia. So it's not entirely tied to all the other above aforementioned stuff there.
Yeah, and especially in this market right now where the biggest challenge is too many offers on a single property. And so buyers aren't getting their offers accepted because there's so much competition. The only way to get around that and actually get deals in your pipeline that will close is to have more prospects, to have more deals, so that you can get them in there. And then also the other part of that is too, you can just have more business, and or you can also just have more prospects. You can choose who you want to do business with. So especially in this crazy market, if you have people that don't have the extra money to cover the appraisal gap, or they can't go above the sales price, then if you know that up front when you're prospecting, then you keep looking for people who have those things that you want as a client and come up with that match.
And so I, the thing is, when I said that the problem isn't the problem, it's the problem that we have with the problem, because we can understand very quickly that, yeah, I guess you are probably right. Like that there is, if you're even taking the time to watch this, you're investing in yourself. So it's not a lack of skill. Skill development is something you can acquire and level up pretty quickly with. We all have our own innate talents, and learning how to do a presentation and put the right offer in front of somebody should not be that difficult. But when it comes to failure to prospect, we have a tendency sometimes to look for outside solutions real fast. Like we don't want to face the problem. So then the problem becomes us not wanting to face the problem, right? Because we can control a handful of things, our actions, our reactions, our mindset. But so when it comes to that, we have to be able to first be able to acknowledge that truth. And what I see happen way too often, what we want to help you avoid, is what I would call sometimes chasing your tail, where you will realize that this is the problem, and you'll say, wow, I am going to need to get out and get some prospecting done and fill my pipeline fast. Because the truth of the matter of doing it right, it takes time. And we don't want to take the time to do it when we have bills that got to get paid next week. So very often what we will do is look for a quick fix solution that might involve you digging deeper, taking on expenses that you don't need, with buying expensive leads from low quality relationships with people who don't trust you. And basically what happens from there is that we burn and churn through those folks pretty quickly. And even if you are fortunate enough to find a couple of those people ready to move forward with you in that month, the good news is maybe their buying window is open at that time and they're ready to get something done. It didn't have as much to do with you as it did with them. And even if you did a great job with them and you took care of them the right way, you're still starting from zero every month, and you're going to have to reinvest back into that process. And you're kind of on a, if you're fortunate enough to stay above the, the benchmark there, then you're stuck on a, in the rat race there of doing that sort of stuff. And I know you've seen that a bunch, Elysia, and being all the years in business for you, how well have you seen lead programs consistently work for people?
Well, the issue is if you use the lead program and you consistently work it, then it works. But the issue is so many people don't consistently prospect. And that's one thing I love about the app, is because it makes it easy. It's the easy button. But if you think about it, if you don't have a system, I mean, it could be even so simple as a referral system of asking for referrals. How do you get referrals from current clients, from past clients? We have great tools for that in the app as well. And if you're not doing that, then you are, just like you said, people are starting over every month, zero. And it doesn't have to be that way. I mean, you can have an endless stream of referrals that come to you that, I mean, it's not that hard. You just have to have a system, and you have to work the system consistently.
So let's start with the mindset here. And what we want to do is I'm going to give you a couple quick takeaways here. But starting with the mindset, when you say that it's just not that hard, that's a decision that we make to say that, right? Because it's just as easy to say, well, that's too hard. I'm going to just go spend thousands of dollars and hope I spin the wheel and land on a lead that's gonna come to me, a purchased lead, versus me taking the time to develop a relationship. But when you say it's just not that hard, that's something that you're in control of, Elysia. I mean, that's something that everybody, that's why you are in control of your mindset. And so the couple little nuggets here that we give you over the next couple minutes, it will not mean anything, no matter how good the information sounds to you. If your mind said, if you don't have that prospector mindset and telling yourself that it's just not that hard. I mean, our greatest fear sometimes in going and moving out of our comfort zone and talking with people, we can't influence anybody if we have this belief that it is going to be too hard for us. Can it be a long process? Does it involve work and taking care of people the right way and getting your message out there? Of course it does, right? But in the end, what Elysia said is very key also, that you're just going to wind up, the worst case scenario is you're going to have more prospects than you've ever had before, and without having to go overboard and overspending on purchasing, again, unqualified leads and that nature of that whole rat race I was talking about there. So yeah, the mortgage marketing master app, it's the easy button for you, right? And you can go and take a look at it, and it'll give you some of those details there. Some of you are already using it now and watching this video inside the coaching section there. I want to give you some things here to think about. In our business, we are all persuaders. That is who we are. At the heart of what we want to try and do is garner influence and persuade people to work with us for the right reasons, right? Not because we're charlatans or anything like that, but hey, that's how we have something good to bring to the table, and we need people to take advantage of what it is that we can bring. Now, there are really three motives that we all have as being a persuader, and depending on where you're at in prospecting, you need to understand this, because working on one aspect of those motives before the other is definitely putting the cart before the horse. They definitely
have to be in the right order, or you actually can ruin the relationship before it even has a chance to grow.
Exactly. And so I'll just give you what these three motives of a persuader are here. I won't hold anybody in suspense, but we'll break them down for a minute or two before we wrap up here. The first thing is this. As a persuader, one of my motives needs to be able to build a relationship. That's the first thing that I need to be able to do, because without having a relationship, everything else that potentially come after that, like Elysia just said, could be awkward and ruin my chances of moving anything forward. Right. So when I'm prospecting, I need to think to myself, what is my motive here for prospecting, for stepping out and saying that this is just not that hard? Okay, the first thing is, if I break that down a bit, I just need to go out and build a relationship. But what if you went out and started to build a relationship today and introduce yourself to 5 people that you could build a relationship today. Like Elysia said, it's just not that hard. Okay. And then from there, the next thing that we have, the next motive as a persuader is we need to be able to reduce uncertainty in people that we are attempting to build a relationship with. And like we just said, if you are attempting to actually reduce uncertainty with somebody that you haven't built a relationship with, which you see all the time when people are just spraying and praying messages around social media, when they have no influence over those people, you are considered to be annoying and a spammer, right?
Right.
So that just, that will not work for you. But going back to what we were talking about here is that, okay, maybe I have people, right? Maybe you actually have relationships right now. I assume that you do. But having a relationship is just not good enough for them to want to do business with you. So you have to be able to reduce their uncertainty. And when the buying window or the opportunity arises for them, they're like, I am going to that person because they know what the heck it is that they're doing. All right. So the order of all this matters. And the very last one, one of the motive, the last and probably the most important motive for us is just simply having a call to action, whatever that is. If it's a referral partner, maybe it's meeting them for a cup of coffee. I know that's one of your favorite strategies for building relationships with people. Maybe it's actually getting somebody to complete a loan application with you, depending on where you're at. My point is, I don't care if you are doing it long form and you have a whole sheet of paper with your contacts written out and you're writing them all down and you're like, okay, I've got a prospect. It's not that hard. Don't just go through and start running down your list, because that list is going to fit in any one of those three buckets at any given time. All right. What I'm going to ask you to do first, and this is the takeaway, is to organize that list, separate them into one of those three categories, either somebody you need to build a relationship with, somebody you're working on reducing uncertainty with, and somebody who you're getting to move to a specific call to action. Once you do that, and you're telling you, you start to kind of break it down in bite-sized chunks, then you have the ability to now work in chunks with those prospects and saying to yourself, it's not that hard. If I know that I've got this list, I don't need to boil the ocean, right? I only need to build a relationship with a handful of people every day. I only need to reduce uncertainty in a handful of people that I already have a relationship with every day. And I just need to check in and see who can be influenced to move to a call to action depending on where they're at. That's it. Okay. So Elysia, any last words before we close out here?
I think, just to add on or emphasize, I would say just the attitude. Like, either you're in it to win it or you're not. And if you're not this is not the industry. So, I mean, we're giving you great tools, and, the tips that Rocco shared, these, just the three categories. These are super easy. Just do it. Like, do it. There's so much happening right now in this industry. I mean, if you can't do these few things, it's going to be a tough year, and it's really going to separate who makes it and who goes. And it's really not that hard. It's just this little bit of effort every day, just a little bit of effort, focus, and attitude.
That's it. It's awesome. Thanks,
You can do
Elysia.
it.
You can certainly do it. Remember the late great Jim Rohn said, don't wish for things to be easier, wish that you were better.
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
That's it. Okay, we'll talk to you all soon. Thanks for watching.